economy of South Africa. The government and other stakeholders have proposed alternative ways to solve this problem, ranging from policy amendments, which seeks to transform the energy sector and adopting other forms of energy production, and as well as technologies. In the recent years to come, South Africa needs to build about 40,000 megawatts of new generation capacity to meet the demand requirements. According to the National Development Plan, 17,800 megawatts should be provided by renewable energies. The energy supply segmentation is as follows. So we had a breakdown and everything, and then your mission was, should you choose to accept, involve constructing a commercializable, innovative idea or product which increases energy capacity or saves energy, and hence solving this particular energy crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thapelo Mbata, and I remember during my years of being the KZN Child Ambassador, I used to say, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am an African and pride is part of my culture. So I would like to welcome you today. Have fun, make sure that you calm down. This is a learning experience, but at the same time, you prepared. So every single thing that is here today, you will be able to do it. So calm down, make sure your group members are also calm so that you may be able to meet the objectives of today. So I'd like to welcome all of you as well as our judges. So today is going to be quite an interesting day because now an external party will be judging our presentations. But good luck. In the words of Linda, may all the odds be with you. So the program is going to be particularly really strict today. You are going to have 5 minutes to present your innovative idea. In this 5 minutes, you should finish every single thing. You were able to send the slides to the facilitator, so everything will be provided onto the screen, so you shouldn't worry about that. However, you are going to have questions that you have to answer after your presentation. The first question is going to come from the judges particularly. Then 2 questions are going to come from the floor. However, we are going to have a time limit to the number of minutes that you can actually use to ask your questions, as well as you having to answer your questions. You have 30 seconds to ask your question, and I'm going to time, it's going to be very strict. You're going to have 30 seconds to ask your question. Then you're going to have 45 seconds to answer that question. Understood? So guys, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be a war zone. So good luck, and I believe that all of you that are here believe in your idea. That is why you pitched up. So good luck, may the odds be with you. So we're going to introduce our judges for today so that you are also familiar with the names and whatnot. So can the judge that I'm going to call the name, please just raise your hand so that everyone can see who is who, basically. So we have, I just want to apologize. My name is Thapelo, but I'm purely Zulu. So excuse me if maybe like I mispronounce your name. Can you just please forgive me for that? So there is Litlotlo Puhole. There is Tato Besi. And there is Ndiwo Maginya. I tried. So these are your judges, ladies and gentlemen. And as we go on, I am going to basically tell you also what they hold and why we take them so highly and how they're going to judge this as unbiased as possible. They're going to be very objective, so you don't have to worry about anything. Welcome, judges. Okay, we can just start with the program. If there are no hindrances, we can basically start with the program. So we are going to have a welcome by one of the facilitators, and yes, Linda.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for making time. It's been a hectic week. I was in contact with your leads throughout the week, some panicking, some crying, but in all, I'm very much proud for your effort, whatever that may be from your side. I hoped that in that light, you guys coming together and working together, you were able to meet new people, you were able to forge connections, and as the Young African Entrepreneurs Institute, I very much welcome you and thank you for being part of the program from its initiation on Tuesday, and then there was Wednesday, yesterday, and some of you made it also to the master class about circular economy. And then today also, there's going to be a master class later on, same venue, FNB 101. It's about the digital economy. So I would like to welcome everyone, thank everyone, Panda Studios, the judges, beautiful judges, and the groups that took their time from their busy schedules to prepare and upload their presentations. So in that light, yeah, I think we can then start the program. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin with our presentations. Okay, so we're just going to start with group one to see what they were able to come up with. So you can come forth. Just as a reminder, I have 5 minutes and then some time to answer and to ask questions as well.
Give them probably a drum roll, I don't know, just to calm their nerves.
You may start.
Okay, hi. Okay, hi. Okay, South Africa is in a sorry state of crisis. We undergo routine power blackouts, a phenomenon we've affectionately, or more accurately, disaffectionately come to know as load shedding. We have largely become acclimatized, if not desensitized, to these conditions. See, they can't hear me. Okay, I'm going to start again. Okay. South Africa is in a sorry state of crisis. We undergo routine power blackouts, a phenomenon we've affectionately, or more accurately, disaffectionately come to know as load shedding. We have largely become acclimatized, if not desensitized, to these conditions. It has become our new normal. The South African government, together with Eskom, has implemented a number of strategies that are aimed at counteracting and attenuating the crisis. These include, inter alia, legislatory changes and alternative energy sources. Okay, now introducing the Selawani Energy Solution, TSES for short. This is a perpetual motion generator. Okay, sorry. This is a perpetual motion generator. How it works. The SES system comprises the following components: 2 batteries, 3 generators, a DC motor, a power load, and solar panel technology. We have 3 interconnected We have 3 interconnected generators, G1, G2, and G3. Shove it. Oh, okay. Okay, the SCS system comprises the following components: 2 batteries, 3 generators, a DC motor, a power load, and solar panel technology. We have 3 interconnected generators, G1, G2, and G3, concurrently connected to a DC motor via the welded shafts. The DC motor is connected to a power source, B1. When the DC motor turns, G1, G2, and G3 also turn, producing current. G3 is connected to a power load. For example, your house, while G1 and G2 and a solar panel simultaneously power with aid of Schottky diodes a second power source, B2. G1, G2, and solar panels all charge B2. And when the power in B1 runs flat, B2 and B1 interchange. In other words, B2 turns the DC motor, B2 turns the DC motor, while B1 recharges. The interchanging action continues into perpetuity, thus creating a de facto perpetual motion generator. The interchanging system will be controlled by a sophisticated timed oscillator or similar mechanism, which is where mechatronics come in. The system is constructed in such a way as to compensate for the energy lost due to heat or friction during the process of rotatory action. We do not tout this as a surefire perpetual motion generator, but it will surely run long enough for a substantial amount of energy to be saved and can be used to power houses.
Thank you, Vio. TSES seeks to address the energy crisis by proposing an agreement with the current main supplier of energy, Eskom. The business model of our project is as follows. We require an enaction of a new policy that limits the consumption of non-renewable energy by allocating the maximum percentage of megawatts that Eskom can apply for each purchase of electricity by the end consumer. That means that Eskom will supply limited coal energy per purchase, which not only addresses its incapacities and inefficiencies, but allows for the achievement of the new development plan goal of producing 17,800 megawatts of renewable energy by 2024. TSES will then supply the excess demand per purchase using renewable energy sources, like my team member mentioned. And Eskom and TSES will have a share in profits proportionately. We are aware that South Africa is currently facing low economic growth and the standard of living is relatively high. As such, we are not trying to put a...
Your time is up.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
I think you can just stay for a bit so that you can have questions from the floor. Judges?
Do you want to go first? You can go
And I just want to mention that we're going to take a maximum of 2 questions from the candidates and 1 question from the judges.
Am I audible? Group 1, I will call you Group 1 because you didn't offer any team name. So, can you guys hear me? Am I loud enough? Okay. Okay. Yes. So, a question from me would be, what are you going to do to make sure that this business is viable, because there are power losses that happens when you transform or when you save power from another form to another form. How are you going to make sure that you don't have that power loss that will make your business viable? Because if there's too much power loss, it will be useless to implement a system like this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the system, okay, so we have the G1 and G2. The power from those generators is combined through Schottky diodes, and it's funneled to the reserve battery. But we also use solar panels to also supplement that power. So that's to really just compensate for the energy loss. So we're actually not losing energy, we're gaining the energy that we're losing. So it's a perpetual motion.
Yeah. Hi, Group 1. Thanks for the presentation. Very interesting concept, but I'm trying to touch on things that maybe you didn't have time to look at. I just want to know what have you done as a team? Because only 2 people presented, so I just want to get a feel of what you've contributed as different team members. And also a feel of the potential market for this and whether this is new or not, because I don't think this is a new concept.
Thank you, sir. The idea of the perpetual motor generator is a new concept, because it's not necessarily a new concept, but how we are sort of going to address it to the energy crisis is a new idea. In that we are going to collaborate with Eskom, but we're not trying to cause a shift in the way the end consumer purchases electricity. What we are saying is that the consumer will purchase electricity from Eskom like it usually does, but Eskom and TSES will be supplying electricity based on the limit that the new policy enacted will have on the supply of electricity by Eskom. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay.
And also, like, as you said, it's actually, there's no perpetual motion generator like many people have tried to. So basically, this is a generator. The power, it's a generator that spins or that works into infinitum. So ad infinitum. So it spins into infinity. So the power never runs out. It produces itself. It produces power while also consuming its own power. And I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. And what did we do as a group?
As a group, I'd say we did research for the idea. The idea came from Vuyo. So what we did is to make sure there's no loopholes on the idea. Hence, you see there's a solar panel and whatsoever, because we could see if it's a perpetual system. A perpetual system, it's something that hasn't been proven to be done. So hence we added like solar panels, and as my team is waiting for her part to speak about.
Well, basically, we also wanted, this idea is also to ensure that Eskom also benefits. So it's not an idea where they're not going to make profit, but they're also going to benefit from the system that we created. So they're also getting funds and income through it.
Thank you, Juan. So we're just going to take one question from the floor because now the time.
It's done. Okay. You guys are demonstrating perpetuity, which is a holy grail in physics and science in general. Because I've worked like in this research a lot, but I even come up with my own designs, and I did my research for months. Like perpetuity is not gonna work. Like anytime soon, there's no way we can like take that lost energy through friction by the electrons that are losing energy constantly as they flow. So the efficiency of perpetual motion is not feasible. It's not efficient. That's what I've been told by a professional in the field. Yeah, I don't know how you guys are gonna successfully implement it, because like physically it is impossible to come up with something like that.
Okay, so I am actually in collaboration with Tristan Rankin. He's a lecturer, a mechatronics lecturer, and we're trying to develop a model and try to see whether it is viable or not. So we can't really just say that it's not viable without any facts. But there's. And was it was it this system or?
Thank you, candidates. Can you please clap hands for group one? Can we please have group two, their presentation?
How do I change this?
I think it's next.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and the House at large. Because time is of the essence, we'll get right to it. The problem, ESCOM, sustainability, energy, it's a crisis. But we've got a plan. Of course we do. So, integrated energy is our solution, integrated renewable energy, because we realize that there isn't going to be one solution, but a combination of solutions. Solution one, every night heat escapes the earth in the form of radiation. You've heard of solar panels, but have you heard of anti-solar cells? So anti-solar cells do basically, it's reverse physics of what a solar panel does. With an anti-solar cell, we can achieve energy production at night. So what we are suggesting is a power panel with the ability to infuse solar energy and anti-solar energy to produce power 24 hours a day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about an infinite energy source, a hybrid power panel that can be, if implemented on a large scale, can power entire cities and remove households and businesses from ESCOM's grid almost completely. Forget about black power. Forget about blackouts. We're going to call this the Black Power Panel. My teammate will introduce the second solution.
So the second solution we have, when it comes to the idea of solar panels, we always think of huge panels that go on top of the roof, but the initial idea, and even the simplest idea of solar, comes from a very intrinsic material property when it allows it to transfer electrons. It's so small and so in detail that it can be reduced into a microscopic level, meaning that we can actually make solar panel into paint. Meaning that you can have solar paint that could be sprayed all over, not only reducing the material that is there from generally in the roof, but it's something that can be employed on the roof, the wall itself, even tar, road tar, which absorbs a lot of heat energy. Meaning that you can generate more power everywhere, and it can also be, it also uses environmentally friendly material. Meaning that it's, it's also renewable, and it'll actually help in the long run of the problem, amen. So the third person would introduce the final solution.
Okay, good day everyone. You see, our solutions are three, because we are a team of 3 members and we have 3 solutions, we have 3 heads. So the last solution is based on the law of conservation of energy, which when it comes from noise, sound actually. Because I feel like sound is not really an energy which is looked at, or is an energy which is not really appreciated. There's sound in clubs, there's sound even also in factories. So we're trying to build a system that can take that energy, which is sound, and change it into electrical energy. And we already have things we can use. Sugarcane, they produce physical materials.
Material and transducers to convert sound into electrical energy. It has been done on chargers, it has been done on light bulbs in the Philippines and in Asia.
Okay, so with that said, we know that these solutions are not really out there yet. Some of them are already in research phases. Hence, we were like, okay, let's combine these solutions to bring one solution to one problem. So us combining them is that we understand they're also not efficient yet. But if there's 3, they can actually provide something with that. So with that said, we thank you. We're done.
Can we please have questions from the judges?
Okay. I'm audible. Okay. So maybe I missed it. You said you use environmental friendly material. Can you just take us through what those are?
So when it comes to the paint itself, right? Usually, it has always been thought that material that can lose electrons, to become scientific, right? Metals that can use electrons, they're actually called semi-metals that are used in the process of creating solar panels. But it's actually, we found that glasses and certain alloys actually can compose of the same, can have the same characteristics as well as that are in solar. So glasses and alloys are actually a mixture of recyclable material, meaning that it's some ceramics, so it means that we can then compose. I think one of them that they mentioned was a steel alloyed, I think it was steel sulfate or something along those lines. So it was there to, so it's something that we can recycle, steel that has already been used before, into composing into this paint where it can then be sprayed, and then when it actually receives heat, it performs identical to what a solar panel would do. Thank you.
Just to add on what he's saying, you can also actually use water as well, because there's this thing called electrolysis, and I'm sure everyone went to high school. You can separate hydrogen bonds with oxygen bonds. And then with that said, there's a reaction that they're trying to make where that hydrogen thing can become a form of a paint which can actually, when it's heated by the sun, can generate electricity. We can paint it on the streets anywhere.
Okay, maybe just a quick one. I assume you were here yesterday when they were talking about the market and total addressable market side of your brief here. So I just want to know, have you looked into that at all? Because you just presented the technicalities of nice reference material.
Yes, we have. What we identified is that South Africa produces over 42 million megawatts, meaning that it's over 97% of all the energy that is produced. So Eskom actually caters, South Africa is known as an energy producing country. That's why steel is actually done in South Africa. And the market that is there, the companies that are producing steel are actually charged less than the consumers themselves. So, and there are sanctions that are there for large businesses as well as these enterprises that restrict them from producing their own conservative energy. So the people that are mostly we're targeting are household as well as small businesses, because they're the ones that are affected the most by load shedding. Meaning that if somebody is staying at home, they can have these items installed, from having a solar, having the paint being done outside, having these anti-solar freeze as cylinders, as well as TV equipment that operates on their own, meaning that they can generate power and sustain. And it's something that we can introduce to Eskom as saying, like, we can sell back power into you, because these things can sustain themselves even when you're not there, and you'll have excess power being produced.
Thank you, judges. Can we please have one question?
When it comes to using sound energy to convert it to electrical energy, we know that a lot of sound sources use electricity at the moment. So do you think you have something that will produce sound energy that's going to be enough to outweigh you using electricity to produce that sound?
Since when we started, we said we are going to be using the law of conservation of energy. You see, energy, you cannot destroy it, you know that, and you can't create it. So, sorry, you can't hear me? Or hear? Okay, sorry, man. As I said, we based our research on the law of conservation of energy, which is telling us that energy, you can't destroy it, you can't create it, you can't create it even. So sound is there already. Sound is there. So how can we change that energy from sound and make it into electrical energy? Hence, we stated there are ferroelectric materials, e.g., you can use sugar canes, which is something kind of vast and cheap as well.
Sure. Sure. Can I? Okay. So my question is, can you hear me?
Do we still have time to respond? Do we still have time to respond?
So I think your question is as to how much electricity or how much sound do we need to produce a certain amount of electricity?
And the electricity that you're gonna produce, is it gonna outweigh the amount of electricity that you're gonna need to produce the sound?
Okay. So what we've suggested is that we're going to start it on a smaller scale with self-powering appliances, meaning that we're going to use appliances that generally the technology is that we're going to design it to fit the product which it needs to power. So if it's a charger, we're going to find a way in which we're going to the input of sound needs to be worthy of powering a charger. Hence, in the Philippines, when it was done with a light bulb, it didn't require a large input of sound because of the output. So in terms of generation, it would have to be by an appliance sort of scale. But now, in terms of lighting, if we put it in a freeway, the amount of sound generated in a freeway could power the lights. You get it? If it's in a club, the amount of sound and noise generated in a club could power the entire club for that. So implementing it in a large city like Johannesburg with the noise consumption, your taxis, your people moving, your trains and all of that, we could power a sufficient amount of things.
Thank you. Two. Just a bit of an announcement for those that are on the ground. If you want to ask a question, you can use these mics in front of you. So you just press the button and then you can ask your question.
How does this work?
These buttons next to it, yes.
And then what is this? Like.
I think it's
I think
another announcement, can please two group members of group 6 please go out to meet someone outside. Two members from group 6. Can they please follow Lynn? Okay, group 5, you can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tato Mabusela, and I'm here with my fellow partners. So we have few innovative ideas to share with you. So biomass. So if you don't know what is biomass, simply biomass is organic, meaning using living organisms. So we decided that we're going to use biomass, few components of biomass, to produce energy for electricity. Especially because it's a non-renewable resource. It's a renewable resource. So do I have to use that? So, ancient times.
It's for the lips, yeah.
I don't know how to use that.
Just speak. So in ancient times they used to use trees, wood, to make light, heat, and everything, so that they can produce electricity. So as said, wood is organic, then it is found in most of the places. Our idea is to use protected areas that are used for forestry, or protected areas that are not used for economic impacts, education, and conservation. So we're gonna regrow trees using a hormone powder system that will use branches, sink it into a
pot water, then replant them. Obviously, there will be trees that are obviously do have trees that are naturally grow, but our plan is not to fall into deforestation. So this manner will allow about 10-year consistent circulation. This will result about 10 million hectares that will produce over 68% of 7,800 megawatts, only from wood and wood waste. This will mostly be used to supply electricity demand for most of residences in our country. So for commercialization, will then allow major companies, private associates, government, corporation, interested parties to buy in or invest.
One of the uses of biomass is that we could use our landfill sites. So South Africa currently has 1,086. This is as of 2015. Now, the stats for current years have not been collected yet, and it is said that that has since increased. Now, we have approximately 22.16 million tons of waste per annum, and a single facility is able to generate anywhere from 2 to 1,000 megawatts of electricity. And since 350 tons have been proven to power 50,000 homes, thus reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 27%. We have it as a safe and reduces the hazardous conditions, since most people living around landfill sites find themselves with health ailments such as asthma. As well as it is a reliable base load because it is active every single day and every hour of the day.
Afternoon, I'll be taking you through our business model. So our idea is to distribute the power supply plant into 4 main sectors: Eskom industry, Eskom residence, Eskom transport, and Eskom commerce. In that way, we have a specialized structure of certain sectors. Some of these are structures using more renewable resources than others, as their energy or electricity demand is moderate. Talking numbers, the industry sector uses about 52% of the total consumed electricity. Therefore, since coal-fired power stations produce more megawatts than the other renewable energy suppliers, a big apportionment to coal will be allocated. While other sectors such as residents, standing at 20% electricity use, will have renewable energy suppliers such as biomass as the major energy supplier. There will also be a link between the separated structures should there ever be excess supply or a need for power assistance in other sectors. With the world moving into the digital space, electricity or energy supply lies at the foundation of it all, which makes the industry a prospect investment hub. Companies such as Simon's Financial Services select for fund services projects which aim at reducing the carbon dioxide fund such projects. Most of the funding will be used for the restructuring and the building of new power plants for the desired 40,000 megawatts increase. By choosing to operate under the expanded Eskom name, matters of customer confidence will not be an issue. There are, however, competitors such as Metro Wind, which has a wind farm by the name of Van Standens Wind Farm in the Eastern Cape. Due to the failures of Eskom, most of its clients are not satisfied. However, the brand itself has some familiarity factor which individuals may choose to work with. I will now hand over to my...
Can we please have some questions from the judges? So just another announcement. In your presentation, can you please use the mic at all times? So just bring it closer so that everything is fine. Okay, thank you. Can we continue, judges?
Thank you for the presentation. Have you considered existing solutions that are similar to yours, and how are you different?
So our idea basically is structured around our business model. So we have a business model which will cater for different industries. So we're going to use the currently available renewable resources or ways of producing energy to supply electricity to different sectors. In that way, reducing the load which Eskom is currently facing with the only supply for electricity being one power station for all of the sectors. So our industry, our commerce, our transport, and also, what's the last one? Yeah.
All right, thank you for a great presentation. But have you looked at where you're going to be locating these power stations? Because you are saying you're going to be catering for groups, for different categories. Have you considered where you're going to locate it in such a way that you're going to be able to feed into that grid of Eskom towards your dedicated category?
Okay, depending on the area. So let's say maybe there are certain places in which windmills would work better. So in those places, we're going to place windmills, and then the windmills are going to provide a power supply for most of the country. And also if coal, places like Limpopo have they're mining coal, so we're going to use those places such as the Limpopo power stations to provide electricity for most of the areas which need electricity powered by coal.
Also, with South Africa having a large amount of area that has unused land, it's about 1.6 million to 1.8 hectares available. So our plan is to go to those places and then create a system where people invest in trees. We plant trees. It's more of how Forex works. People invest in buying those trees, and then we use them for our biomass processes.
Thank you, judges. Are there any questions from the floor?
Okay, start right here at the back. Wait.
Can you hear me? Since producing biomass, it's like an agricultural process, isn't it gonna have like competing resources with agriculture itself? For example, water. South Africa is a water scarce country. So you planting trees might mean that you might have to redirect some of that water usage towards growing the biomass or the trees.
I think with water will mainly depend on rainfalls and yeah.
We will use scientific measures to accelerate the growth of the trees. So when much they depend on the rain or much of the water of South Africa.
When replanting the trees, when we regrow the trees, we're not definitely going to say that we're going to put more water in it. We're just going to have to take a bit of water and put the branch using the other hormonal products to make it fast. Then we'll be saving water from that also.
Do we have any other questions? Is there anybody else? Okay.
Thank you, group.
So like in the process, it's gonna involve the cutting down or burning of trees, right? So in a world that's leading into 4IR, and the power consumption is gonna increase exponentially, and we know that trees can't really grow as fast as you're gonna need them to meet the demand. So I don't know, I sort of feel like, how environmentally friendly is it, and how sustainable can it be considering the demand we are heading into?
Like he said, we'll be using chemicals that are available. And another thing is more of an investment. Same with coal. Coal takes years. So we are also putting the same investment that the coal industry uses with trees.
With the coal, it's a 40-year investment that's manifesting today. So like, because it was a primary source, we're still living off the production of centuries ago. So what you're saying is that when you're done cutting the trees now...
Your time for asking the question is over. Thank you. Do you have a response?
Yes. Okay. So we have landfill sites which are also going to use, which uses the biomass. So we're going to use that as well. And also, our method is not only using biomass. We're using existing technologies as well, renewable solar, or your hydroelectricity and everything. So our idea, our innovative idea was the business structure. How it's different from the current one?
From cutting the trees. So when we're talking about environmentally friendly thing, when we cut the trees at the same time, we reimplant them, making it faster rate to grow. We know that for a tree, it will take about 40 years for a tree to be fully grown. So we make it lesser than that. It's going to be a 10-year circulation. So when we cut tree, we build that. We build that using a branch of that tree, using a hormonal powder system that's going to make it fast to grow, take it from there, water inside the soil.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. You say it's fine in the mic.
To the people asking questions on the floor, please just know that you have 30 seconds to ask whatever question you have, and you're not allowed to make a dialogue with the people answering in front. Thank you.
Thank you, Group 5. Can we please have Group 6?
Good afternoon. My name is Sanglisium Simango, and I'm going to be representing Group 6. So we all know that Eskom lacks the power generation capacity to provide the whole country with energy. This creates processes like load shedding to be implicated into the country, which affects business productions. This has a high impact on businesses depending on electricity, because this means production has to stop. The disturbance in production has a negative impact on our country's economy. A downturn in the economy will result in higher unemployment rates, reduction in economic activities and income. The poor become poorer, and also in households, food gets rotten when electricity goes off for a long period of time. The inconsistency of electricity also causes damage to house applications. So our solution to this problem is to create a device called the smart meter. This is a device which is implicated to your already existing electricity meter, which helps you to monitor your house usage and limits electricity usage in your house. This is a device that sets a limit of how much electricity you use on a daily basis. This device works with conjunction to your existing electricity meter, which means we don't have to create new plants and all that stuff and go through that whole process. It also limits the amount of electricity you use, and if you have reached your daily limits for the day, it switches off the non-essential devices, such as your television. The smart device is also linked to a telephone application. So this telephone application is linked to your cell phone, and it will notify you and will calculate the daily number of volts you use in a day. And it will warn you of high usage, and with this, you'll be able to control the amount of use you have over the house during the day. Technology to manufacture this is already existing. Just like I mentioned before, we don't have to go over and start a new plant or develop new things. We can just go to the factory, manufacture the device that will help us with this system. This device is very simple to use. It's a basic application that you have in your phone, just like your data saver. It tells you what uses most electricity, and you can limit that by switching off that application and restricting the power source to that specific application in the house. I would say this device has no current competition because it's something new, and it's I don't know of any in the industry, and it will help to improve the already existing system. So in the past 18 years, data shows us that South Africa has an increasing number of households. So by reducing the number of electricity we use in our households, we will decrease the amount of electricity used, and it will decrease the strain Eskom has to put. This is a model of the device and how it would look like. And which summarize the whole thing. So basically, we came up with an idea just to have a device installed to your electricity meter, which helps with monitoring your daily usage of electricity. If you have exceeded your limits, it will tell you, notify you. You can switch off the amount of electricity you use in a day to certain appliances, and everything is in your hand just by a click of a button.
Thank you, Group 6. Can you please take some questions from the judges?
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. So the brief was to come up with an idea that will increase the wattage or the watt that will be produced in order to cater for the greater South Africa. But you hence come up with an idea to save the existing electricity. And how are you going to make sure that with the energy saved, we will be able to increase the power in the grid?
As mentioned, so the app has a limited number of watts you can use per day. So by that, we already know that this household has certain access to these watts per day, and that is your limit. If you have used your watts for the day, sorry for you.
Just on this device, okay, there are production measures already in production, like there's renewables and solar, wind, ESCOM, but then what's the point if there's like waste of electricity in our daily basis? So we must find a way to save this, use the electricity efficiently. Meantime, there are production units that produce or supply this electricity to our houses and stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. I actually had a similar question to my fellow judge here, but maybe just on another side, you just said there's no competition. I can tell you now, my house is using 296 watts right now. Yeah, so we, depending, we do know how to do these things. But what I want to find out from you, what research did you do to determine the feasibility of this solution that you're proposing?
We just researched the most common used system in houses, which is sub-meters. And then from there, we decided to create a device that will help us monitor and save our electricities in our home. In that way, we can save the electricity that is used by everyone in their households, and we can save the electricity for the whole country.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, just not to belabor. Is it only just the two of you in the group?
Some are not here.
Okay.
Part of them, but
Oh.
decided to take pictures. Brainstorming together. Yeah, so.
Okay. In terms of costing, will this device then be? Who's your target? Will an ordinary South African citizen be able to afford such a device? Have you thought into the costing of making the device and how much it's going to cost to actually be used?
We haven't really looked into the cost of manufacturing and all of that of the device, but we assure you that the device will help us save energy, and we can use the money that we could have spent on the energy to install the device. And the device is a once-off thing, so it's not a recurring thing that you will need to create more all the time. You just install it one time, and it works for you throughout, whenever.
Thank you, judges.
Okay. Oh, this is dying. Okay, so I will now take questions from the floor. Okay, I'll start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There is a limit.
Limit.
So only two.
Okay, I'll take my say over there and our cameraman.
Thank you so much. So my question is, it seems the device needs a lot of discipline on the end user. So how are you going to ensure that you educate, or what budget is there to educate the end user and to get them to a point where they feel like they need to use the app to reduce electricity? Number two is illegal connections. How do you deal with illegal connections in terms of this aspect? Because a person who's doing illegal connections wouldn't want a grid sort of thing to determine how much they are using.
Okay, for the first part, there can be awareness programs just to bring awareness to the general public. And for the second part, illegal connections is a big problem. Even ESCOM is suffering to exactly that problem even today. But then you must know, like institutions, like most of the time, businesses, they are not most likely to do illegal connections. So if we can, and we know they consume large amount of electricity, of course, and they're owing ESCOM a lot of money. So with them, we can have a safeguard that they do work in that part. So when it comes to the normal household who do illegal connections, I think it's gonna be a bit of a process because it's gonna have to involve like the ESCOM regulation and stuff. Just the way how they are handling like the illegal connections. So yeah, I don't know whether I fully answer your question. Okay.
And the device has a cap to it. So it limits the number of words you spend a day. So this will force you to have the app to track your usage for the day, because by the end of the day, you might have used up your cap of the wilds that you're allowed to use.
Yeah, first of all, you capping people is more like load shedding, so that's inconvenient. And secondly, why is ESCOM suffering? Did you answer that question? Maybe you did with regards to maybe a lot of people are using a lot of electricity, but the question is, are they households who are using a lot of electricity? And if you want households to suffer, are they the cause of the problem? Did you think about that maybe?
I would not say it's the same as load shedding, because in this aspect, you have control over your power. ESCOM doesn't take your power anytime. You're the one who control how to use the power and ensure that by the end of the day, you have your power. So you can find effective ways which you can use to ensure that you have power throughout the whole day. And this is a cap for a day. So every day you get this new balance.
Okay, thank you guys. Please give them a round of applause. So I will now call upon Group 8 to come give us their presentation of what their innovative idea is. Is it just you?
And then the laser.
Okay, so your 5 minutes starts. Is it 5? 5 minutes begins now.
Hi everyone. So my name is James, but I usually go by Jason Gogan, and I'm a sun-kissed boy. And I'm here to present my sun-kissed idea. So I come from a financial background. I do not have any engineering background. So my idea is based on a business idea, basically, not really innovation. So we are here to unlock the potential of solar power. So we know that in Europe, there's a lot of solar power that they're using, which accounts for 69% of the entire world. So if 100%, if the the entire world is using 100% of solar power. 69% of that proportion is used in Europe. So that begs the question of why isn't South Africa jumping on that bandwagon? Why isn't South Africa not using solar power? An easy answer to that question would be financial constraints. I thought you guys were going to guess that. But an easy solution to that, an easy constraint to that is financial constraints. So a lot of South Africans do not afford to buy solar power. So as we can see, Wits, from this diagram that I have here, Eskom produces a lot of its power from coal, which is 75%, and only 2% of that comes from renewable sources. And with renewable sources, that includes all the renewable sources that you can think of, which is your, all the renewable sources. So only 1% of that 2% comes from solar power in South Africa. So the problems that are associated with the 71% power supply is load shedding, high prices, inconsistency in apply, environmental effects, which we all know. And the future of coal power supply is just diminishing since the entire economy is moving towards green economy and sustainability. You name them, you know all of them. So, as Walt Disney once said, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And I'm here to that. I'm here to encourage us and the investors. I thought there was going to be investors here, but I was wrong. So Sunkist is my business model. So Sunkist would be based on us, take for example, going to Soweto, creating a power plant, a solar power plant specifically. So in creating this power plant, we know with creating a power plant will need a numerous number of solar powers. So my idea is that to bridge the gap, the financial constraint gap between people wanting to use solar power and having investors that want to invest in the solar power environment. Sunkist will provide a platform that will link these two people together. So what we'll be doing is we're going to have people who are buying solar energies, solar cells, which is only going to be one cell. So each cell is going to be costing between 100 and 150. So you, as a normal citizen, you can buy that and then give it to us. Then now we're going to create a solar power plant. In this solar power plant, we're going to be leasing this to your normal average South African. We're going to be leasing this to a normal average South African. So that would mean solar power is not only accessible to the upper class of the society, but now it's going to be available to everyone. So in simple terms, so when people use our solar plant for the electricity generation or the electricity consumption, they'll be paying us for the usage, just like they're paying Eskom.
Thank you, Group 8. Can you please have questions from the judges?
Okay, there's a question at the back.
So the judges are actually supposed to ask their questions first.
Sorry about that. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you will be able to answer this question because you said you are presenting solely based on business side of things. But have you considered the environmental impact that solar has?
From my knowledge, my limited knowledge, I have to admit that I view solar energy as renewable energy. So we are moving towards that paradigm. So I don't think there will be any complications when it comes to it causing global warming and the likes.
Maybe if I can just have a follow-up. So solar also has environmental impact. Like when you set up your solar power station, you are killing the plants maybe that are below those solar panels, that you are degrading the soil, and there are a lot of things that are involved with solar panels. It's not as clean as people perceive it to be.
Of course, I feel like with each and every solutions that is presented, there's always going to be a caveat. So the thing that we have to do is find a way to work around those things when implementing these ideas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
So, I assume you did your research, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you looked at other people that are already doing what you're doing?
Yes, of course I did. But the only difference between me and those people is that they were so focused on big entities. When I started with the sun-kissed idea, I specifically said Soweto to give you an idea of my target market. So what differentiates me from the existing ideas that are in place right now is the target market. I'm going for a different target market and bridging the gap of your normal average below middle class South African not being able to afford to buy a solar system.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then is how many team members are there in your group? Is it
I'm the
just
only
you?
one.
Okay.
That is group.
You
Okay,
guys are
that was group
keeping
8. I'm going to take 2 questions from the floor. I see Malika, and I'll take you, sir.
Hi. You mentioned that you plan to put a massive solar plant, especially in, for example, Soweto. And my question is, have you considered the amount of land you would need, especially in a place like Soweto that doesn't really have a lot of empty land?
Okay. So I think maybe the confusion is in the usage of the word massive. By massive, I don't mean something that's big as how big Wits is. Yeah, I mean in terms of the energy generation, it needs to be massive. And I don't think we're going to need a lot of land for that. We're just going to need solar cells that are powerful enough to produce a lot of voltage.
Okay, so my question was, what happens in winter? And also, let's say in Soweto, right? Is there enough sun to power the whole house? Are the people going to go off grid, or are they still going to use Eskom or any other power supplier as well as the solar panels for when there's load shedding?
So I feel like most of the ideas that we are presenting right now are alternatives to Eskom, because there's no proper solution that's going to solve the entire energy problem. So right now what we're doing is giving Eskom alternatives, since we can see that they are struggling. To answer your question of what happens in winter, these are going to be the moments where we're really going to need Eskom. So they're going to have to pull through for us.
Thank you, Group 8. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Group 8. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to commend him by working alone on this amazing innovation. And he's also proof that entrepreneurship is neither a science or an art. It's basically a practice. And maybe you can also take that into consideration. So thank you very much. Can we please have Group 9?
And may I please just add that when you present, please do not face your backs to the audience. You can face your backs to us, but please look at them because those are the people you're presenting to. Thank you. Here's your microphone, guys. Yes.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are Group 9. South Africa is highly dependent on Eskom for electricity generation, which is predominantly coal-fired. The generation capacity is insufficient. As a result of this problem, there is lots of businesses and markets get disrupted. There's also loss of jobs and an increase in unnecessary expenditure as well as cost of living. And during the time we experience load shedding, we lose about 2,521 gigawatts hour of electricity, which should have been supplied.
So as we understand that we have a problem of this energy supply, so we came up with the biogas system. So this system utilizes waste materials such as animal dung, poultry waste, plant waste, and any general organic material to create a slurry mixture. So now the biogas system essentially works, just the previous slide. So it's an anaerobic system that basically works using microbes to generate biogas. So this is a 3D model of the system. So the green part that you're seeing right there is the distillation chamber, where you put in your material, and then you have the funnel right at the top, and then you have the connecting pipe that transport the gas into the storage gas cylinder. So this is a high-grade biogas plant that is found in Japan. So these guys basically produce something, they produce biogas in a compressed way, which you can use to in fuel for buses or your trains. So how is our product feasible? It's using simple material. So we are basically using your waste material to generate your gas that you can reuse for your cooking fuel. And as well, the material that's used for building up the system is very simple. You can use a Jojo tank, PVC pipes, and then also you can use a plastic funnel. All the equipment used up in the setup can be maintained and replaced without much problems. So also we realized that the system is very compact and it's very economical because it's a simple setup and it uses less space. Thank you.
So how efficiently does the efficiency of our solution in solving the problem? So from 1 kilogram of cow dung, which is cow poop, we can get about 0.5 liters of biogas, of which 1 liter of biogas we can get 2.4 kilowatts hour, assuming 0.3 efficiency. So to power the 2.51 gigawatts hour required during load shedding, would need our system powering like 83,700 households. So, and the savings associated with this, with Eskom charging 2 rand per kilowatt hour, is like 60 rand a day. So the market sizing, so we're gonna primarily target farms in the Western Cape, because in the Western Cape you can pay to the grid, meaning like the municipality will pay you for producing electricity for them. So Western Cape will be our primary market, farms, because we don't want to transport the biogas. So the target market 250.
Can we please have questions from the judges?
Yeah, thank you, Group 9. I think this is the first group that, just from the slides, seems like they used the pitching deck. So well done. Yeah, I think, I just wanted to just clarify your reasons for your your total addressable market. Like you said, you will be targeting which area specifically, and you said farms. Is it farms in general or specific farms in an area, and why that area?
Okay, so we've noticed that in the Western Cape, the government in the Western Cape is subsidizing households for using renewable sources and for powering the grid. So if you produce a lot of electricity and you give it to the grid, the government will pay you something like 80 cents per kilowatt hour, right? So if we target, our initial target will go for farms near the Western Cape, the Cape Town area, in the Western Cape. Because they have an incentive for buying the system, they will probably consider it as much. So the overall market, we're looking at around 4,000 farms. Yeah.
Thank you, judges. So I'll take questions from the floor. Please, if you have a question for our presenters up here, let me know. Okay, cool.
My question is, basically biogas is a big of methane gas emissions, which is a big problem in ozone layer depletion. So what is your plan around that? What is your strategy in working against methane gas emissions?
So in terms of the biogas emissions, because we're considering also it's a circular economy in a way. It's going to benefit the farmers to produce the biogas, right? And we're gonna give them a network to sell the manure as well. So in terms of the emissions, because we're moving from coal, which is very harmful, to biogas, the percentages are not that high. I don't know if another good member takes that.
Also, to add on that, when methane is burned, like when it's combusted, I don't know if it's the right word, but when it gets burned, the gases that are produced are safe.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. There's another question here for you.
I wanted to ask, so say for an example, the Western Cape does buy into this concept, and you are asked to take the very same concept and implement it to the rest of the country to benefit the rewards. Would you be able to work around with those concepts so that it fits places that don't have farms?
So just to answer your question, as you can see that this model is very simplified. So the green stuff that you're looking at there, it's like a Jojo tank. So essentially you can use this at the back of your house. So all your vegetables, once you're done, you can hoy them in there. All your perishable stuff you can put in there. So essentially how this works is to primarily digest your greenhouse, your material that you throw away, and then it's going to be decomposed into methane. And then you collect it, and then you can use it for your cooking.
I said no dialogue. Thank you, Group 9. Please give them a round of applause, guys.
Thank you so much, Group 9. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished our presentations, and we are going to give the judges an opportunity to basically convene and hand over the scores. So I'd just like to say that we can agree that the future of South Africa is in great hands. These innovations are proof that the only thing that we want is opportunity. And I honestly wish that every one of you might be granted that opportunity to be able to be the game changers. So do not worry, your ideas are in safe hands. So as the judges are going to convene, I'm just going to tell you about who they are so that you know that they basically hold a good standing with your ideas. So Tato is basically the executive head, marketing and corporate affairs, and she holds a master in philosophy for strategic communications management. How great. And Ndivo is basically the CEO of Panda. So he knows about entrepreneurship. He knows about how an idea in its early stages can actually grow to become an idea that can be a company, and you can be a CEO in it. And also, Ndivo, I can say that he's also, he's also the director of the Wits Innovation Center. And just to mention also with Tado, is also involved with the Young African Entrepreneurs Institute. So one day you also hold such credentials, and I hope that you were able to also connect with your future, what do you call them?
Business partners.
Yeah, business partners. And thank you so much for your participation for today. It was a refreshing experience to have. I'm not old, guys, but like, you know, like I was just inspired by your guys' ideas, and I was like, I'm not gonna call you guys, I'm just gonna say ladies and gentlemen, but I'm really inspired because you are future colleagues as well. Most of you are also not necessarily in this field of science and whatnot, but you were able to pull through. So congratulations, and can you just clap hands for that?
And may I please just like make an announcement? There was a register that was circulating around the auditorium. If you haven't signed your name next to it, please make sure that you do. By a show of hands, can I just know who hasn't signed the register? Who's the last person to have the register? Oh, it's over there at the back. May you please have it circulate around the auditorium? Thank you. Also, there is a class that we're going to be having later today at WSS 5. It's at 5. Where's the venue?
Where's the venue?
Oh, sorry. I've just been corrected that the venue is FNB 101. The class starts at 5.
Okay, thank you guys. You could just take a breather right now while we wait for the results and talk within your groups what, you know, yeah, and then we'll tell you what happens after. Yeah.
Okay. May I please have everyone mute their mics? Please don't play with them. Thank you.
Get this close.
Okay.
Oh, so I'll have to announce the winners. Okay, I'm gonna. These are the prizes. So I'll bet 3, 2, 1. Who's number 3? Who's number 1? And then olives and plates. Okay. Yeah, 250. Oh, that's fine.
So what do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Fun. You want to include this thing there? What? Yeah. But it's the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
That side, you see there?
But it's the same thing. Because the beginning has the same
Yeah,
words.
sure. No, it's okay. Let's see
it's fine.
pictures. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. It is. May we all just please settle down. I'm told that the judges are almost done with the score sheets. I know that the groups that are representing here forward are pretty anxious about what the results are going to be. So while we wait for the judges to come back inside, I just want us to all have a conversation about all the presentations that were made here today, which one struck the most, and just talk about the ideas that were presented here and what you think about them. So I'm roaming around, and actually we don't even have to roam around. You guys can just raise your hands and use the mics right in front of you to ask whatever questions or just engage in the presentation that we're going to get forward. Okay, since no one wants to start. I'll just talk about mine. There was an idea about okay. I will ask that you please don't make noise when someone is speaking. Please don't speak over anyone. And if you have something to say, please raise your hand so that I can note you and you can speak. Thank you. Someone had raised their hands. Yes. Please just switch on the mic in front of me.
I like the group of the one they use sound to make electricity, something like that. Yeah, that was something brilliant.
Cool. What is one thing that you liked most about that particular group?
It's only that it's just, I don't know.
The group that was making a presentation on sound, do you guys want to just elaborate further on what inspired your idea and why it is you decided to go that route? Please speak into the mic. Thank you.
Mara is like the idea masibona ukuqala sibheke senze ukuthi isimo sephathini because some of us we like parties. So most partying I actually music because there's low shading and people are still singing but there's nothing going on unyama sasibonani or someone phone or something. So if now there's a way of using that noise uthi ukhanya then let's just try it.
That's actually great. Who would have thought that, actually going out to parties, which is something that our parents actually look down upon, would actually motivate a young entrepreneur like them to actually come up with such a great idea. I can see that my judges have made it back to the venue, and that means only one thing, that the scores are back. And yeah, it's gonna be drum rolls, it's gonna be heartbeats, people are gonna faint, some are gonna cry. But yeah, judges, are you ready to deliver your scores? Tato, are you? This microphone.
They said I'll announce them.
Can't you?
Is it fine? Okay, no problem. And then do you have one consolidated numbers for the winners, or one page for that, or she has everything there? Okay.
Is she gonna be nice?
You want to announce?
Just this one. You can just stand. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'll tell you that.
Why am I the one having to do this?
I can announce them for you. Maybe you can give them feedback.
Yes, actually. So in spirit of Women's Month, let's give it up to our marketing head at Yay, Tato is here, and she's gonna be telling us how everything unveiled.
Okay. I'd like to say well done to everyone. All the ideas were brilliant. It was a tough one. Yeah, I think you did see that we took quite some time outside to decide who and all of that. So we have the top 3. We're going to be announcing the top 3 groups. I hear that there's some prizes. You're going to be getting vouchers. Vouchers from olives and plates.
Ooh.
First prize is okay. So the third group will be getting, each person in the group will be getting a voucher for 100 Rand for each one. So it's 100 times the number of people in the group. Group 2 will be getting 150, and the winners are getting 240.
Per person.
So per person. So lunch is going to be great. Okay, we get into it.
Oh.
Okay. In third place.
One thing about Tato, guys, she doesn't like seeing anyone,
Losing,
not winning.
not happy. And,
So this has to be the most difficult thing she has to do ever.
Okay. So, in third place, we have group 2. So, the feedback that we got amongst the judges is that, so there was no proof of feasibility. So I think you guys can just improve on such research, and just to prove that it's, And then we had troubles deciding? Because you gave us 3 ideas. Each one came up with each solution. So if you can just tone it down to 1. So yeah, that's what we got from that. Thank you.
Another round of applause for group 2.
Well done. In second place, we have group 5.
Ooh.
Okay, group 5. So what you can... Okay, so not much improvements. We liked your group collaboration. We like that you touched on your target market. And then we like the fact that you used existing ideas to create a new business model. So big ups to that.
Another round of applause for group 2. Now, before we get into the most interesting one, the winner of today's pitch, I want you guys to give us a drum roll. 3, 2, 1. Drum roll. Are we ready? Tata, you ready to announce who won?
So this group, we all agreed that this was a great idea. We could buy into it. Someone said there are no funders here. So this is an idea where we thought this was brilliant, well researched. We didn't have to even ask a lot of questions. We didn't have to go and find where's this, where's that. All our questions were answered. The solution was innovative, and we would like to encourage you to move forward with the idea. So the winner of SEW Innovation 2022 is... Do you want to guess? Okay, our winner is... Group 9. Well done. Thank you so much.
May all the winners gather up to the 4th to take some pictures and receive their prizes as well. Can we just move? Okay, we'll start with the group that came 3rd place. Come up to the 4th and just come take pictures with our judges. You know, Instagram things. Can't we just move the thing into the middle? It just makes sense for it to be in the middle. It's fine.